It all started one early morning. I had just gotten up from my bed to prepare myself for the school day ahead. I was like 9 or 10, if I recall correctly, in the 2nd or 3rd grade. Anyways, I had gotten up to do my usual morning tasks of waking myself up, and now had time to relax at the computer before my mom had to drop me off. I log into the homepage of YouTube, searching for something that catches my eye, only to find one particular video from a game, much less a channel that I had never seen before. All it takes is a look at the title, the words Monster Hunter flooding into my brain, for me to click on the video and see what it is about. In typical early 2010s YouTube, the audio and video quality wasn't exactly the greatest. Recorded at a low 360p, split up into multiple parts due to the 10-minute time limit, with quite the interesting mic setup and aspect ratio to say the least. And yet, kid me didn't care. This Monster Hunter, the creature called the Ceadeus, grabbed every single fiber of my attention in rapture. I was shocked at the utter scale of this creature, the way it moved, the game UI, the combats, the music. It was all unlike anything else I had seen before. And so, morning after morning after morning, I would check back into the channel, who went by the name of Prince Boo 21, to see what else there was of Monster Hunter. Before long, I knew of and saw the Kurapeko, my first non-Elder Dragon monster. I saw the Phantom Uragan and how absolutely tiny it was. I started to learn there was more to the series than I ever knew about. Games before it on other consoles, in different languages even. And just like with the Ceadeus, I had felt the same awe and intrigue when gazing upon the Kurapeko, looking at its funny, odd-looking dances, its shape, its sound design and mechanics, and then its ecology video, which was something I hadn't seen before. For the first time in a game, I got to see not just something for me to defeat, but the vision of a game and its team creating a world in front of me. A world filled with life, mystery, and danger at every corner. I couldn't get enough of Monster Hunter, and was addicted to learning more through whatever videos and hearsay I could find. Before long, I would be asking my mother eagerly, every day, to see if she could find and get a copy of Try For Me. And eventually, I got it. Ever since then, I have been positively glued to the series, following it in all of its aspects with unbridled devotion, unable to stop myself from consuming more. Whether it be trailer, gameplay, countdown, or anything else related to it. Even if the video had nothing to do with Monster Hunter, I was positively ecstatic whenever I saw it mentioned. At that time, Monster Hunter and Ceadeus by and large represented something to me. It represented a whole new world to explore, one filled with cool, interesting, and unique monsters to fight. The years passed by in the blink of an eye. Yet, my love for Monster Hunter never waned for even a single second. It was safe to say by that point, with free you, even for you perhaps, that this had become my favorite franchise of all time. More hours than I had spent on any game ever outside of Pokemon were dumped into each and every single entry possible. Fighting so many more monsters, learning all new weapon types or styles, all of that and more. It felt like each and every single time I just fell in love with the world all over again, going deeper into it each time. Through my exposure to the internet and various creators on the platform, I had gotten quite accustomed to coming up with imaginary intros, video scenarios, you know, general shower thoughts when you start rambling to yourself. That's normal, right? At a certain point, I decided to make a move that would change my life up to this very day, and make those fantasies a reality. I got myself a blue snowball microphone, an Elgato HD60 capture card that I still use, and a screen recording program in the form of Bandicam, and began the process of reviving my long-dormant channel. In typical fashion, it was rough as hell. It didn't have the best sound quality as a whole, plus some rough spots in commentary. But that's the tradition with any YouTuber when they are starting out and aren't sure what to do. Somehow, I built up a small dedicated following through enough uploads, working to establish myself as a smaller scale Monster Hunter YouTuber. Which worked, albeit at the cost of showing everyone how whiny I was back then, much less in an unscripted manner. But even then, I wouldn't take those videos back if it meant getting rid of the experience gained or the friendships accumulated throughout this journey. Yet, even after all of this time, I still couldn't stop myself from thinking back to that one monster. Perhaps it was because I now had the power to realize my ideas, or that I was growing reflective in trying to get more video material. But I ultimately realized there was a connection that I held with the big sea whale. A connection that I wanted to understand and explore, to see what I could find out about it. And so, on November 26th of 2017, I uploaded one of my first big projects on the channel. An utterly massive scripting effort compared to anything I had made up to that point, requiring research, dedication, and time to create. This video, titled Closer Look: The Meaning Behind Ceadeus, was inspired by a couple of things, but mainly by Lockstin's various videos going over Pokemon theories in the lead up to Sun and Moon. It also served multiple purposes, being a follow-up to my Cantor New Canlos ecology video I had done earlier in the year, as well as the start of a new series I'd hoped to feature more throughout the channel, explaining and researching the symbolism or ideas behind various video game entities. Though, like many of my other projects, it is quite sporadic and can take a while before the next upload. It was overall a really fine video to work on, still having some elements of developing YouTuber syndrome, but it did lay the groundwork going forward for many of my more scripted videos in the future, like countdowns and especially the BlazBlue Story Explained series. Not to mention, it gave me even more reason to like Ceadeus, as I had gone through Free Ultimate's low-ranked village story once again in order to grab footage and information that would be necessary. Through this, I had discovered and come to many different conclusions about this overgrown whale, elements about it that tied into different cultures, motifs, and even elements that encompassed Moga and the whole of the third generation. At the time, I considered myself quite proud of the video and the effort going into it, content with my analysis of Ceadeus, and decided to move on to potentially greener pastures. Time passed. The years flowed by like grains of sand in an hourglass, vanishing in the blink of an eye. 2018, 2020, 2023, and now moving all the way into the last half of 2024. As of this year, it will be the 8th anniversary since I revived this channel, which is just utterly ridiculous to think about. In that time, I've done many accomplishments, going through numerous milestones in subscriber and video count, building up a small but dedicated community of people. I've made a group of friends that I wouldn't trade the world for, having shared so many wonderful experiences together. I have honed my narration and scripting style, sounding nowhere close to the man I once was in terms of confidence and speech. I have gone through some of the biggest production cycles of any project I have done, pumping out some of my finest works over the years. And yet, despite all of that, sometimes I wish I could do more. I look at all the time that has passed and wonder what it all means, if it even matters all that much. I want time to slow down, to make me feel like I've done more throughout the year. I lament my slow, fickle nature of projects and motivation. I wish that I didn't have to be in moods to work or even think about things. And there have been times over the past year or so that I have doubted my own capabilities, my drive compared to so many others. It is terrifying, feeling how fast the days go by, and feeling like you aren't doing as much as you could, even when you know that this is the most you can do in any one circumstance, that you shouldn't try to push yourself. The feeling that your life is uncertain. In these moments of self-reflection, of life and its uncertainties, and in the midst of the 20th anniversary of Monster Hunter, I find my mind going back to that single whale. And that's the reason you are seeing this video right now. With the 20th anniversary in full swing, we celebrate and vote for our favorite monsters, our favorite themes, looking forward to the future of Monster Hunter with Wilds. We give thanks to how this dinky little franchise from Japan has impacted our lives for the better, introducing us to people across the globe that we never would have known about otherwise, and for giving us irreplaceable memories that we all share together. And for me, I guess that means going back to this one monster. It's funny, if I were to do a top 10 list of my favorite monsters, chances are that Ceadeus wouldn't even reach into the top 10, being probably an honorable choice at like 11 or so. Yet, I constantly find myself drifting back to the waves of Moga, like a piece of driftwood washing upon a beach. I thought I had sorted out all of my feelings and connections with Ceadeus in the third generation all those years ago. Yet, as I get older, as the time flashes by right before my eyes, I find myself discovering all new feelings about this monster, what Monster Hunter means to me, and life itself. Perhaps because I now realize that my rationale for making the video before was linked to that era, where I was watching Lockstin and was in desperate need of some content. Or maybe not, because here I am still making content about it. Yet, it feels different. I think to myself, why? Why do I attach these meaningless meanings to things, being so overly dramatic with a fucking video game character of all things, trying to allude it to and make connections about life? But then wait, isn't that what Monster Hunter, the third gen, and Ceadeus are all about? Monster Hunter, as a whole, means many different things to a lot of people, and chances are not a single perspective is bound to match up exactly, even if there are similarities. So, for me, I guess this is what Monster Hunter means to me. Monster Hunter is about life. It's about a way of life. We ride into this world unprepared in a blank slate, destined for endless potential. We walk our first steps into the wilds, in awe at the flora and fauna around us, at the glory of Mother Nature. We appreciate these creatures for the life they breathe, the power in their bodies and frames, praying to the heavens, earth, and sea as we take part in a ritual dance of wills. It can be slow and uncertain at first, but we learn and adapt. The dance reaches its climax as the monster is slain, giving thanks to nature as we use what we have learned, what we gain from it, to further bolster ourselves. Every new monster is a new opportunity for growth, thinking we've grown the strongest we can be at some point before life knocks us back down. But we stand back up and prevail. making it all the way to the final destination, the sea, the cradle of life. Rather than an immediate dance, we are introduced to a slow waltz, invited to swim alongside this magnificent creature, trading slight blows as we descend deeper and deeper, finally entering the main chamber and initiating the final dance. It may not be amazing in terms of game design, but one could consider it a time to recollect, to look back on the journey that you had up till this point, bathed in the water of the Redeemer, in the presence of the great cross of life and death upon its back. A ritual that one could imagine existed long ago with the ancient civilization that once lived here, before sinking into the bottom of the sea. And at the end of the dance, we drive back the beast, relieving it of its pain and emerge from the ocean, reborn and revitalized as the savior of Moga, a legendary hunter for the ages who went against orders from the guild to save a town. This fantastical world we explore and live in parallels and contrasts with our own in many ways. But that doesn't mean all of it stays in the game. The fights, the experiences, the hunters and characters we've met along the way, the monsters we honor, those are all moments that we, the players, also take strength from. This is my life, and Monster Hunter has and shall continue to be a part of it. Every effort, every project, every friend, all of these memories and memorabilia have made me who I am. The best part is it isn't limited to just this one example. This growth can begin in any game or generation, and even if we may have already gone down this journey before, we can still continue to grow, to make more memories and experiences. It all brings to mind how this game opened my eyes to the people behind the scenes, the ones crafting the game's experiences before me. Every detail from the environments, the monsters, the armor, the weapons, all of it so delicately crafted to communicate their vision, their world that they take pride and joy in. A world that plays host to so many different possibilities and interpretations, whether you're one of realism or enjoy the fights, the dances that we go through, or whatever else in Monster Hunter. All those interpretations are valid. All of them fit in Monster Hunter because, like our reality, it's life. So when I think about all my worries and stresses, about all that I want to do, I find myself back in that cave, in the ruins, drifting alongside the Ceadeus, reminding me to take it slow, to calm myself, to plan things out, and to be one with life.